I'm making this because it feels easier than writing. Writing turns into something permanent too quickly. This can be erased. Or I can decide later that it was only a test, that I was checking the microphone. I haven't even labeled the file. That seems important. If there's no name, it doesn't belong to anything. It's just sound. Nothing is wrong. I need to say that at the start so it stays true. If I don't say it, the rest of this might drift. People make recordings for ordinary reasons all the time. To practice speaking. To hear how they sound when they're calm. To get used to silence with a voice in it. That's what this is. I'm sitting at the table. The room sounds the way it always does when the appliances are off. There's a low hum that I used to think came from the walls, but I'm pretty sure it's just my ears. When you pay attention long enough, you start to hear things that were already there. That doesn't mean they appeared. It just means you noticed. I haven't told anyone I'm doing this. Not because there's something to hide. It's just unnecessary. If I told someone, they'd ask why, and I'd have to explain a feeling that doesn't really exist. Or it exists the way a bruise exists before you press on it. It's there, but it doesn't matter unless you poke it. I should probably talk about my day, because that's what people do when they're testing a recording. Today was fine. I woke up when the alarm went off, not before. I remember that clearly. I didn't lie there counting the seconds between sounds. I got up, made coffee, stood at the counter longer than I needed to because the light was good. None of that is unusual. Routine feels like proof that things are stable. At work, nothing happened. That's the best way to describe it. Conversations that went where they were supposed to go. Tasks that ended when they should have. I didn't lose time. I didn't forget anything important. I know because I checked my notes afterward, and they matched what I remembered writing. That matters to me more than it should, maybe, but it's practical. It's responsible. There have been small moments lately where I've had to double-check things. Not because I was confused, just because it made sense to be thorough. Like making sure the door is locked even though you remember turning the key. Memory isn't a recording. It's more like a summary. Verifying doesn't mean you don't trust yourself. It means you understand how summaries work. I'm pausing now because I heard something, but it was just the building settling. I knew that before I stopped talking. I only stopped because it felt polite to let the sound finish. That's not anxiety. That's manners. I should say why this recording exists at all. I guess the honest version is that sometimes I listen back to things and they sound different than I expect. Not wrong, just different. The gaps between words are longer or shorter. There's a confidence in my voice that I don't remember feeling. Or the opposite. It's interesting, like hearing someone you know well speak from another room. The first time it happened, I assumed I was tired. The second time, I assumed the playback speed was off. The third time, I stopped assuming anything and just listened. That's when I realized how much I fill in while I'm talking. How many decisions I think I'm making that might just be habits moving on their own. That's not alarming. Everyone runs on habits. If we had to consciously choose every breath, nothing would get done. I read that somewhere or someone told me. Either way, it makes sense. I don't feel different. I want that to be clear. There isn't a before and after here. No line you can draw and say this is when it started. That kind of thinking creates problems where there aren't any. I'm the same person I was last month. I can prove it. My preferences haven't changed. I still dislike the same foods. I still hesitate before answering the phone. I still have to reread instructions even when they're simple. There is one thing, though. When I listen to these recordings, this isn't the first one, even if I'm pretending it is. I sometimes catch myself waiting. Not for a sound in the room. For myself to say something specific. A phrase, maybe. A way of explaining that feels familiar before it happens. And when it doesn't come, I feel briefly disappointed, like a prediction that didn't pay off. That's probably normal. If you know your own patterns, you expect them. Writers do this all the time. They know what a character will say before they write it down. This is just a smaller version of that. Less creative. More practical. I listened back to one recording yesterday and noticed a sentence I don't remember deciding to say. It fit. It wasn't strange. I agreed with it when I heard it. That's the important part. If it had felt foreign, I would have deleted the file immediately. Instead, I kept listening. I nodded along, which is ridiculous when you're alone. I told myself it was just how memory works again. You don't remember deciding to say every word in a conversation. You just remember the conversation. The rest is assumed. The mind is efficient. It edits. That thought should have ended it. It almost did. I went to bed after that and slept through the night. No dreams that I recall, which is a good sign. When I woke up, I didn't feel watched or followed or anything dramatic like that. I felt normal, a little stiff in the shoulders. Hungry. I'm mentioning this now because I just realized something while talking. Not something bad. Just precise. I've been careful to describe what this recording is for without ever saying what I'll do with it. I keep framing it as temporary, erasable, not meant for anyone. But I also keep talking as if I'll listen back later. As if there will be a later version of me who needs to hear this. I don't think that means I'm afraid of forgetting. I think it means I trust the version of me who listens more than the version who speaks. That feels reasonable. Listening requires less effort, less intention. You just receive what's already there. I'm gonna stop in a moment. There's no natural ending, and forcing one would make this feel staged. I don't need to summarize or conclude anything. That would imply a problem to solve. There isn't one. I'll save the file, though, not because I need it, just because deleting it would feel like interrupting something mid-sentence. And I don't like the idea of leaving myself unfinished, even if I'm not sure which part of me that is.